And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This time closely, almost on time. Like we are now just 7 p.m. here in beautiful California. Weather is checking everything on the other side. Are we okay?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Can you just come in this little, there you go, a little more? You want to stream this with 2 cameras, so we need to be here and there. Thank you, Facebook, and thank you, YouTube, for tuning in. Today we're gonna go a little less, how I can say, we're gonna go a little more pragmatic because we get a lot of questions and a lot of support. And okay, let's do this time answering the questions about what was like, how can I get my dog to eat, right?
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of nice feedback. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And, people would really love to know how to connect this knowledge from a systemic point and how to really use it to really figure out what's going on. Because when you...
like this here, so I have my presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
So when you go online, as everyone knows, you get a lot of information, and some of it is like really mind-boggling from, keep switching the dog's food to hand feed them. Even the top result on the internet said to hand feed the dog and then to praise the dog when it's doing something that it's, natural and something that should be done regardless without praise. So share with us your thoughts on that, why dogs refuse to eat. And
come somehow closer to me. Can you?
I can.
Are you okay now?
Flexible, yeah.
Flexible. There you go. So again, the systemic approach of understanding the dog's behavior starts with understanding the dog's origin. Nothing works if we have the founding formula of that human-dog interaction misunderstood. Misunderstanding of this concept, especially today, when we get so emotionally involved with the dogs, that we actually think that the dogs are humans. And the dogs are thinking like humans. And when we call them our babies, our child, our best friends, and things like that, that humanization of the dog actually can't happen. In our mind, it does happen, but as I said earlier, what happens is actually animalization of the people. So we can't pull someone up to a human consciousness. We need to respect the level of the consciousness that nature and the God and whoever provided those creatures with, and then blend into understanding their world, their observation of the world, and then from the pure point of respect and love, allow them to have and live the lives by our side, fully engaged in understanding their needs and providing them that secure place that we promised that the humans gonna provide to wolves if they adapt to our lifestyle. And always thinking that the humans are ones that initiated that process of domestication leads to a wrong conclusion. Wrong conclusion are laying the foundation for the wrong interaction and outcome of those relationships. Does that make sense?
Yes. So it all starts with the right perception or like a good historical foundation.
Yeah, because if we don't know the history, we can't understand the present. And if we don't understand the present, we can't have a nice outcome of our present actions. And that's a future. So it's simply as that. So when the dog says that my dog doesn't like to eat or don't want to eat, or he's picky chewing and taking this and taking that and loves this and doesn't love that, if you don't understand that actually it's not about the food, it's power game, then you can be able to fix that.
So can you define what that means?
Okay.
In layman's terms?
What's a layman's? I don't know that word.
Like very simple.
Yeah. It's easy to talk to me with the simple language, that's kind of like an absurd on its own, but I'll try. Okay, so in order to get to the dogs, understanding the dog's needs, first of all, we need to get to a point where we understand who approached first and why. And that's something, that story that takes us 14,000 years ago at least. We need to understand why the dogs were first so-called domesticated animals. And after that, like thousands years, nothing. And just lately, after that, like maybe 10,000 years ago, we started to domesticate all other animals. After one relationship with the wolves was bringing us as much as success in a relationship and contracts mankind made with another species. So that first question becomes like, how the heck can, in the mind of the people, on the consciousness of the people, 14,000 years ago, some creature that is actually aggressive have a same habitat, same food, can be of any interest of humans? How you imagine that scenario looks like? People go out there finding a little puppy, wolf puppy, taking him home, and then suddenly domesticating it? Is that how we think it happened? We had those experiments that failed because we do have a beginning of the chain of the evolution, like we have a wolf out there, so we could initiate the same process as well. And there was what was the name of that institute in Hungary? Institute of the Etiology of the Hungarian University biology department conducted so-called wolf watching experiment. And they took puppies from the one day old from the mothers, and they took them and gave them to handlers, and they raised the puppies like 24/7. They were with them. And the experiment failed at the moment when the puppies become sexual mature. And then they started to naturally occur that interaction with the handlers like they would do in a pack. Because if you isolate a little puppy from the pack, the puppy will still have a pack mentality. So that when you extract the puppy from the pack mentality means that actually the pack is what? The pack is a family led by the parents, mother and the father, alpha female and a male, usually living with a different generation of the siblings, of the offspring. And they can be like up to 10, 15. It's too much because it's already difficult to maintain the circle of the food chain of the food, because hunting for the 15 members of the pack is already life-threatening for every single member of the pack. But let's get back to this point of how the food affects the history, how the history of the dog and a wolf affects a very big understanding of how properly to feed the dog. Do you see any connection in there or not yet?
No, I do, but we were going back to, you're saying that everything is a power challenge. So
yeah, like why the experiment failed of the wolf watching? What do you think? And anyone else? But this was like kind of ones that we analyzed, and in our in our academy when we talk to students, we exactly evaluate this wolf watching experiment. Why the wolf watching experiment failed, and what it proved. Up to your, okay, I maybe talk too deep about that. Maybe you would be easier to explain that to people, like up to your perception, like why the experiment failed, or what was the outcome of that experiment?
Well, I don't think it failed necessarily. I think it's more appropriate to say that the outcome showed that the mainstream narrative of that, there was these people hundreds and thousands of years ago, they took a little baby wolf or wolves that the mother got killed and then domesticated them. They became more tame over time. Doesn't work because the wolves don't have that perception that we're humans and that they can just relax and rely on us for food. So they're constantly challenging and testing us to see if we're worthy of our leadership role and of our leadership position that we're responsible for, which is the primary need is the food.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that was like in very small amount of the words, pretty much nicely explained that I wouldn't be able to kind of do. So thank you so much for that. Actually, that you are right. Actually, it's not the experiment failed. The experiment just showed that actually wolf can't be domesticated, because soon the wolf starts to get sexually mature by smelling the smell of the human alpha, the human feeder, the human handler, they will see that actually there is no threat for the sexual maturity. And the sexual immaturity within the pack usually wouldn't happen, or it will be condensed, not expressed, because the sexual maturity is not allowed within the pack, because only alpha male and female breed. The other ones are not breeding, not sexually attracted to brothers and sisters until they do not start to challenge the alpha. When the father or mother become not strong enough, then the turnover of it happens. So they're either gonna die because they're too, but they won't die. Usually they won't die. The wolves actually were killed in the nature. Usually they don't die because of the old age, because they can't protect themselves, or they die of hunger because they are outside the pack. So that's very important to understand the dynamic of how important the pack and the family is for the survival of the dog. Because even though the dogs today doesn't live in a packs, they do create a pack mentality social group that maybe we can't call it even social, because social would mean that can the humans create a social group with something outside the human species? Probably not. But I don't know how we would call this interaction happens in between dogs and humans.
Community.
Let's call it community. It might be a community. Now, the very, very important things is which kind of terminology on this basic understanding, without bringing any scientific language in this, lexicon in this, to average doggy mom and doggy dad to understand how to actually feed the dog properly without us preaching them. So I don't like to teach my students anything rather than a perception, raising a perception and awareness of how actually the history evolved up to my understanding, observing the reality. So how do we observe the reality from we observe the history from 2 points. It's kind of, we see how it is now, and then try to kind of slowly go backward, and then slowly, step by step, unfold the history from the present moment. And the other ones would be, if this would happen, then we would end up having this as a result. Those are like theories, again, like hypotheses. There is not much something that can hypothesis turn into a theory, because it's not kind of something that can be pragmatically proven by using a scientific methods known, like experiments. How would you experiment the history of the dog? You can't experiment, you can just guess. And the only way to guess is just to observe outcome of it. And luckily, we do have the dogs and the wolves present today, so we can observe both of them and see what a similarity in between interaction happens within the wolf pack, in between the father and the mother, with the different generation of the offsprings that actually are brothers and the sisters, and all of them are the little kids of the alpha ones. So how do they interact within that environment? And then know about Pavlov as well, but not about that one, but about Dr. Belyaev experiment of the ethology of silver fox experiment that laid down the foundation of actually what happened there is the self-domestication of the wolf. So it's meaning like if you incorporate the Belyaev experiment, and we can have I already talked about that, I guess there was a special, but we can do a special talk about Belyaev experiment, maybe with a little, narrative, and then putting some pictures somehow. So not a live one, because I don't know how to interact with all of that. But what's important there is to understand that the Belyaev experiment showed slowly that a portion of the pack, some portion of the pack, probably there were like omega wolves, the lower in the rank, the last in rank, youngest or the weakest ones, that were depending on the pack, saw the potential in the humans, because the humans have leftovers of the food. And if that member of the pack, the lower ranked pack, was looking at the 2 places, there they have in a family of the pack, mothers and fathers, mother and father with the siblings chasing the deer, and every single time they have 10 attempts to kill the prey, and only one in like 10% of the attempts succeed. So the wolves in the nature...
1 out of 10?
1 out of them. So the wolves in the nature are more hungry than they are not hungry. And now here is another potential. Here is some creature, like a humans here. They kind of tend to hunt and then bring the prey back home eat whatever they want to eat or can eat, or they eat, and then leftovers are all over the place. But the wolves can't approach because they are afraid. So usually when you go wolf watching, you can see, if you have, I had a chance to kind of organize those teams in Serbia. You go for a week and you don't see the wolf. And you know it's there. The wolf probably sees you, but you don't see the wolf. So how can happen that some animal that's so much afraid of humans come close by? And that's explained in the silver fox experiment, because they said adrenaline is a key to answer, because higher the adrenaline level is within the blood. So it's already, we are talking not about now mind and things, we are both talking about the biochemistry of the body. So if the adrenaline is high, the so-called distance of tolerance is high. Distance of tolerance is high. Why? It's meaning that the wolf can't tolerate small distance being close to a man. That's I think I explained it. Did I explain properly? So if the distance of the tolerance is long or big or high.
So it just basically means how comfortable they are approaching without running away.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. So if the distance of the tolerance is high, the animal wouldn't approach humans enough to get close to them, because they're going to be afraid of them. Because adrenaline is survival mechanism within the chemistry of the body, and pushes the body to decide at the moment when that kind of interaction is happening. What should I do? Freeze, fight, or flight? Fight is not happening often in the nature, because oftentimes the dogs and any creature that's not a predator actually uses a fight model to confront anyone, because when you fight, you might be killed or you might be injured enough to die. So when they choose to fight, if not for the food in order to kill, they would probably not fight at all, because once they initiate the fight, they might end up be killed, as I said, or injured enough to die. So the animals in nature usually don't fight as often. They would flight and freeze much easier than to fight. So for the wolf to approach is completely impossible unless the level of the adrenaline is low. Who can have a low level of adrenaline? The omega wolf in the pack structure. And that was proven by the experiment of the Belyaev. And he said if the distance of the tolerance is small, so the wolves are enough tame, so they can approach humans enough not to be scared of them. They might end up being close to a food source. That's always there. And if they now start to breed among themselves, omega wolves, they might end up getting tamer and tamer and tamer. Tamer and tamer and tamer. And then and then not only tamer and tamer and tamer, but experiments showed that they're gonna not only change the tameness, become more tame, they would change a physiology expression as well. The phenotype will change. They're gonna start looking differently. The eyes gonna start rounding, the color would change, because once adrenaline moves away, all other hormones that adrenaline is in a way would start expressing themselves.
Curly tail,
underjaw,
ears.
fluffy ears, everything that can make that animal look not so scary as the wolf is looking like. And just after that, the humans might think about, oh my God, what is that? Some of them stays and guard the environment where they are fed. So just then the humans can see, okay, look at these ones. If I breed these ones that guard places around our houses, we can get better guardian dogs. If I take these ones with me to hunt, and if I can prevent them from eating the food that they help me hunt, and I give them the reward, and I breed them according to that, I'm gonna get hunters. So the wolf itself didn't got domesticated until it didn't change its appearance. So something within the wolf needed to change first.
So you're saying that they saw an opportunity to live off of the leftovers, almost like scavengers, and then over time got closer and closer until the humans took over.
Yep, that's exactly what I want to say, and I hope I said that in a way to people understand. Because that is the first reason why did we made a contract with the dog. It's a food. So the food is alpha and omega in our relationship. When I had the dogs that I used to show handle for my clients, the dog would come to me and I would use a food as, I must say this, and I'm not so proud of that, but that's the world, how that world operates. So I was using the food to blackmail the dogs to get what I was wanting to get out from them.
Well, that's how you train dogs nowadays. It's all
As
with
well.
treats and
It's a
food.
manipulation. You're gonna do this, and I'm gonna get you that in reward. So what we do, we manipulate dogs. And there is another way, because we shouldn't manipulate anyone. And then there is another way to establish a better communication with the dog through the rituals. And the food is a sacred source of our relationship. And it shouldn't be just, oh my God, throw them the kibbles inside the bowl and I'm running out late to a job. It's not like that. Because what you communicate actually is irresponsibility and unrespect to the most sacred moment of interaction and relationship called food. But you also don't babysit around someone that you respect. You give them space and time to go through the ritual by themselves, by clearly marking the respect zone in both ways. You as a leader, or as someone that's parent, or the parents are responsible creatures. You can't just be parent and then do whatever you want or think what's best for your child without giving them a space. So you see them actually, you meet your child, and then you give them the possibility to express themselves the best way possible without us interrupting that development phase. And the dogs remain children forever because of that level of the consciousness that is always in that regard of how many free will is there on dog to choose the way they behave around us, or they are hooked as to something else, as we call it, can be called morphic resonance, because morphic resonance is something that's connecting the shapes and gives outcome, as Rupert Sheldrake says, morphic means shape. So the morphic resonance is actually, by him, is something that creates shape and connects same species by shaping them into the same shape, same form, for example. So, but we can't call it morphic resonance, but we can use it as a field of the harmonic resonance, as I call it. Harmonic resonance in between humans and non-human animals like dogs is something that can guide that relationship if properly adjusted and properly nourished. So the dog comes in our life for a reason. And on other podcasts, we talk about deeply rooted reasons about why do we have dogs. And every single moment of the dog behavior can be tracked in our own life experience. For example, if you have any problem with the dog, you need to journal consciously about back when the problem started. And then take away attention from the dog and observe your own life, your own emotional state. When the dog came in your life, the circumstances happened around that time. And then if dog changed any behavior, stop looking at what happened to the dog and start looking what happened to you at the time when the dog changed his behavior. And you will have a broken link in that. What the dog tries with its behavior to reconnect us to the source of our source of our brokenness. And if you would be honest enough, you would be able to decode those stuff and then to heal it from there. Because if we live life unconsciously, as we often do, why? Because we are not present in a moment when we make a lot of decisions, and then we just get struck with the result. Oh my God, who was I when I was doing this? It's completely like someone else was guiding my consciousness to make a decision to do this. How did I marry this guy? How did I say yes to this job? How did I do this? How did I do that? And at the moment when we were doing those decisions, we were not present. because we were thinking what happened yesterday and what will happen tomorrow. We are not present when we make decisions, but no actions can be made without decisions. And those decisions must be made, and they are made even consciously or unconsciously, even by us, or we allowed and authorize someone else to make those decisions in our behalf. And that is where the broken links happen. And we can call it trauma, we can call it however you want, but that's the place where the dog's behavior is taking us back. So what that has all to do with the food? Because we emotionally get entangled with the dogs. Exactly, because through them, something or someone lives. So we can feel fulfilled and complete when the dog is around, and like some link is missing when they are not around. But it's not the dog. It's something through the dog or someone through the dog. But let's go back again to a feeding ritual. If not performed as a sacred ritual, the dog would question our ability to be a leader, to be a responsible person. What would dog question? But look at the outcome of our results. Look at the outcome of our life. Who is responsible for that? As you sow, so shall you reap. Or what's the other one you like to quote? You have the other one.
Karma.
No. You said it yesterday so nicely.
As we do, so shall be done.
As we do, so
us.
shall be done. There you go. As you do, so shall be done. And all of those things work in any single moment because they are laws of nature. But how that works if something terrible happened to us? Am I guilty for that? The laws always work one way or another. And sometimes some actions and karma takes a couple of generations to come to be paid. But doesn't mind about karma, doesn't mind about the past, doesn't mind about the future. The only thing we should mind is now. Because now I am able to pull together, no matter what was happening to me. You have everything explained in my book. Ground zero. No mask. Nothing. No emotion is controlling me, no matter how hard it was to go through it. I'm a winner of those circumstances. And they led me to this wonderful discovery of the dog-man entanglement and relationship because it saved my life. And I bet that that's happening in every one of us lives if we consciously observe our life instead of focusing on dog's life. So preparing the food in the nature happens like when animal is hungry, they just go out and take it. Like the Bible would say, the no bird would, the no bird would sow the plant the wheat, but the God wouldn't let them hungry. The God would provide the food, but also it won't take the food in the nest. So bird need to do that. So the food, preparing the food in a human world means that we need to go to work first, because you can't have a free lunch, and there is no free lunch. Even if you're getting a free lunch, somewhere need to be paid. With the money is the most cheapest thing to pay. Everything in the life has a price, and it's cheapest to be paid by money. So when you pay it with the money, you settle it immediately. If you let it to someone else, higher force, to decide the value or price to that, you never know how it in which form it can come. So when we go out and work, our dogs are seeing us going to hunt. They don't know that we go work. They think that we are hunting, and we do hunt. And we go out and we don't go hunting and getting back sick from job we do, tired from job we do, stressed from job we do. The dog would question our ability to live. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that? Is the money reason? Is the food the reason? Am I the reason why you suffer so much? The dog doesn't want that. The dog want their leader strong, responsible, up to a standard, up to a deal. We are part of the contract that's done and written in between two species 14, 15, 100,000 years ago. Doesn't matter when it happened and under which circumstances. We need to provide the food. And we live in the society in a way that only we can provide the food for the dogs. They can't do it themselves. The dogs are not anymore the hunters. Even the dogs that hunt and kill the prey, they wouldn't eat it before they get something as a reward or leftovers of the people. That's important. You don't feed the dog with the food for the people. You don't do that. It's a big burden. The dog is not a human. Soon we understand that. Better respect we're going to give to a dog. Dog lives on the feet of their masters. We can call us doggy moms and doggy dads, and we can be dog parents, and those can be our angels and everything, but it's a trap. It's a trap. Because they should take us on a lead to another person. They should take us closer to our loved ones. That's the message, and that's the purpose of the dogs today. The human heart is broken. The human soul is wounded. Generation after generation after generation. Look at the world we live in. If the within would be different, outside the world would be peace and heaven on earth. But we need to achieve it first within every single one of us individually. And the dogs can teach us that. But we just need to learn how to listen. So again, back to a feeding ritual. So what we need to do is prepare the food. When the preparation of the food starts, the moment you put your feet out from the home to go to work, that is when the preparation of the food starts. That is the moment when you go hunt for the money to the jobs you don't like. And you come home and you bring everything from that job home. And then the home suffers. The family suffers. And the dog is looking at that like a little child and asking, are you doing this because of me? Are you suffering so much because of me? Is this the best you can do? And then again, they trap themselves like a little children, feel guilty, feel abandoned, feel responsible for the actions of their parents, and finally stop feeling loved, becoming angry, feeling abandoned. And that's the way into almost every single heart of ours. That's a responsibility that the parents and leaders have. Leaders in every single company, the leader needs to do what's best for the company. Because if it's best for the company, that is best for everyone in the company. Regardless what is emotional entanglements happening between people in the company. Because the company doesn't respect the people the way they are and the level of the consciousness they are bringing within the company, and understand that the obstacles in every single one, in every single growth, in every single if the company doesn't understand that success of the team and of the company depends on every single individual, like a person. Every single person is unique first, and then part of the group. But the group and the system doesn't care about individual. They are always looking for survival. They don't care about individual. But that's a trap again. You can't raise the consciousness of the company if you don't raise the consciousness of the individual. An individual can't be changed. They need to change themselves. No one of us want to be changed. They want to change. We want to change. I want to change. Everyone has changed, but it's a personal choice. How goes that beautiful quote? Something is inevitable. I don't know that word.
Inevitable?
Yeah. But the personal growth is a choice. How this goes?
Change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice.
Change is inevitable, but the personal growth is a choice. So when we put all of this together, is actually the ritual. How do you feed your dog if your dog doesn't want to be fed or wants you to feed him? You need to understand how this works in nature. and do the same. Prepare the food in front of your dog. Either if it's a kibble or if you cook, make it a ritual. Have a bowl and make it prepare for the dog. A very old trick is that while you are doing that, you want to chew a piece of chocolate, eat an apple. Not because you want to show him that you are alpha, because alpha eats first. It's nothing to do with that. Because if you do the same action with a different intention, brings different outcome. So you don't chew because you want to show how great you are and how greater you are. So you're alpha, and alpha is eating first, and this is how I show dominance. No. You chew so the dog thinks that he's eating what's left after you. That's when the dogs are in the perfect harmony, because they are peaceful with that. So then you put in a bowl the food, you eat a piece of chocolate, you start producing your own pheromones and nice hormones that smells to a dog, peaceful hormones that he can rely on. And then put down the bowl and leave them alone for 10 minutes. Come back after that and finish the ritual by picking up the bowl. Don't leave the bowl on a floor. Don't let the dog eat for an entire day, because it's a ritual. The ritual means it's a game. It's not a game, it's a show. Ritual is a show, like a witchcraft. Sacred show. Sacred beginning, sacred...
Middle.
Not middle, I would say culmination, and the sacred end. So it begins when you start preparing the food. That's the moment when you go to your work. That's when you start thinking about, I'm feeding my dog by going to work because I need to make money first. And then I come home and then I bring the prey that I catched by working a job I don't like. But it brings good money. But maybe I'm willing to pay with my health. And no one can deny it's our personal choice. We don't need to do that. We need to find how to tap in this abundance of possibilities that every one of us has. Not today. You don't have any single excuse not to do it in this level of the consciousness. The informations are available, the techniques are available, the coaching is available, the gurus are available, the religions are available, the medicine is available, the psychotherapy is available, the all kind of workshops are available. Now, nothing can be an excuse.
Well, that's the paradox. When you have an abundance of choice, it becomes so overwhelming that you just end up doing nothing instead of something.
That's that again, it's a choice. It's a choice, either made consciously or unconsciously. It's a choice.
So you're saying the fundamental thing to understand any dog behavior is they're communicating something, and then to understand what they're communicating, you have to understand nature,
the being
and
of the
the
being.
pack mentality.
Yeah, the being, the core of the being of the dog. You can't understand it in a realm of human-dog relationship. You can't even understand it in a realm of dog-dog interaction, because it's not the same. But the mentality, you can dive in and come into very strictly organized pack mentality that the communication is the same. If you look at how the wolf communicates, two wolves, how they communicate, you can find the ways to connect the wolf communication within the dog communication and within the dog-human communication. The dog-human communication can't be analyzed because it's too emotional. So any analysis and any possibility to analyze will lead to the wrong conclusions, because the conclusions are not objective. They're emotional, subjective. If you get into a two-dog interaction, you can get to a core of that, because the dogs, are they playing, or they are are they playing because they are happy, or they are power tripping and then power challenging each other? And at one point, the beautiful game turned into a fight. How that happened and on which circumstances, acting and interaction of two dogs can be analyzed well, because each and every owner would analyze it from its own perspective. So again, emotional entanglements, if we observe the relationship of our dog with other dogs, we again gonna be subjectively in the relationship and analysis. And all other all other scientists that are researching on that also having a disclaimer. Almost everyone that's honest would say, well, no matter how much I try to be objective, I can't be, because of subjective interaction with the emotion of the dog used in experiment or observation. So where's the core of understanding the dog's behavior? Observing the wolves, the source, because we do have a source present nowadays. And that source structured so conservatively, so strictly, like a pure democracy. You have a leader, you have a government, you have a teacher, you have workers on a lot of levels, you have a C-suite, you have bricklayers, but you have exactly structured environment like a pack, like we structure our government. Head, president with his wife, alpha. Should be the most intelligent one in a society, should be the most strongest one in society, should be one that can lead and rule. Let's say kingdom, that's the perfect way of how the pack is organized. Should be the best. But is it? Who knows? And what happens within the family? It's happened that everyone needs to have his own place. So the son never challenges the father. The daughter never challenges the mother, because the parents are great and the daughters and sons are smaller than them, and it will never be greater than them. The only person that they can be greater than are their own children's, if and when they're going to have them. So that's where we learn about how to recognize our own family. Why the dogs can be taken away from their mothers. Every one of us that has a dog, that bought the dog from the breeder, that came to a shelter or bought the dog in a pet store because they wanted to save the puppy, all of us kidnapped the little puppies from their mothers. And we love them so much. We would do everything for them. But how our life started? In the shelter, you're maybe a second adopted parent to them. But on the day one, someone kidnapped them from their mothers. Do they suffer? Do they know who their father is? Oh no, it's an animal. Aha. Are we hypocrites? We take them as a babies when they need them as a babies. We take them as a emotional support when we need them as emotional support. But yet we don't care about how they feel. Will they ever learn about who their parents are? Or is there some other law that governs the peace of them by not knowing who the parents are and importance of that? And when it comes to food, understanding the position of the leadership and the mastery that we have over them is of crucial importance. And that's a sacred moment. When you feed your dog, it's a sacred moment. And you don't give up on your responsibilities just because your dog doesn't want to eat. Because it's nothing to do with eating. It's to do with a power challenge. They want you to behave responsibly. They want you to do the right things. They want you to perform that ritual properly. Go out and hunt for me. Bring it home and prepare it for me. Show me that you eat it so it's leftovers of yours, so I can enjoy it. By not feeling guilty because you need to go to do something you don't want to do, because you have me. And then leave me to eat. If I don't want to eat, you come back in 10 minutes and pick with the bowl. Out of respect of what's your job to do and what I am here to do for you. Once you do these 3-4 steps that I said, prepare the food, call the dog, eat the piece of chocolate, raise the pheromone, those beautiful hormones of the pleasure that release the chocolate the moment you're chewing. Saliva that goes through your mouth is going to send the signals to your dog that you are preparing the food with joy, that you enjoy the food. And whatever is left after you are done eating is theirs. Put the food down, move away from the kitchen. Come back in 15, 20, half an hour. Give them the space as much as you want. Come back, pick it up, and finish the ritual with respect, dignity, and responsibility. When you do that, first time, if you have a picky eater, first time you come home, you come after 15 minutes, everything is in the bowl, nothing is touched. He's screaming, crying, wants you to pet him and to give him everything you want. No, you don't do that. Because I go to suffer to the job. I don't see my kids to go to work. And I bring home what I can. So you're going to eat this, what I have. Or there is no food today. Tomorrow is another day. Or next meal is another day and another possibility and another try. You're going to eat it or not. Out of respect. The ones we start to respect our position, they're going to start respecting us even more. Because the food was the first thing the humans promised they're going to provide to dogs. But not only to provide, you need to make a sacred ritual of that moment of eating. Because it is sacred. Because we do suffer a lot by doing the job first and then buy whatever we buy for dogs. It doesn't matter. Is it a turkey? Does he like this? Does he like that? It doesn't matter. Usually the dogs are very happy by eating leftovers of the man. You can make a dog be a vegetarian. We did a study and researching in India. The people doesn't touch food. The people doesn't touch meat. They would eat whatever is left after the family is eating. Dogs are healthy, living a beautiful life, 10, 15 years.
No bets.
Go there and check. Ask people in India, ask them wherever they are, like to go to a villages to see what the stray or what the village dog eats in the family that never cook meat. They would eat paneer, they would eat beans, rice, veggies, whatever is left from the family, they would eat. Because that's who the dog is. The dog is happy on the feet of that. So if you like the fish, he would like the fish the most. If you like beef, he would like the beef the most. If you like chicken, he would like the chicken the most. Go after what you like the most and find a way to bring them to that position that out of respect, you won't suffer your life to bring them something you wouldn't eat. But don't give them food for humans. Because that's not good either for them. Human grade food. No, human grade food is for the hungry people around the globe. Are we dealing only with the climate change when it's in our interest and talking about the climate change when the Western countries are on the stake? Or we are thinking about that even when our dog is eating the human grade food that can be split over and sent to the places where the food is just to be seen once in a million years.
Well, there's plenty of hungry people in America.
Or actually, let's go there too. And not that they don't need it. They don't want it. If you really understand the dog, then you would know what the dog likes the most. When you see them eat, you will see them what they like the most. They would usually be the most interested in everything that would usually be left after the killing, the prey is killed. Intestines, like treva, right? The liver, the beef, organs, nutrients. The dog doesn't eat how you call that, chicken breast and loins and beef, how you call that, steaks and things like that. Dog don't eat that. That's for the royal part of the family. And when you provide them environment which comes out from respect and understanding, the core of the dog's being, then you play the big guy game. Then you become really strong leader that might end up quitting the job because finally you get the strength to say, no, I should do things right. not the things the people expect from me to do, or I expect to be doing something. Because remember, the path to a pure love and harmony is a pragmatic path. Everything starts with respect. Out from that respect raises responsibility to do right thing, not what I want or what I think or what's easier, to do right thing, no matter how hard it is. That's responsible behavior of the leader of no many kind. That's responsible behavior of the father towards his son, of the mother towards her kids, of the leader in any company towards his employees, and on teachers toward the students. They always need to do the right thing. That comes out from the respect of the sons and daughters, out of respect of the students, out of respect of the members of the company. That's what the leaders do. Responsibility. But then when I do right thing, responsible, I can't be big head because I do right thing and what's expected from me. That's a trap, another way of trap. Almost no one goes through that. Because once I start doing things, I immediately think I'm different than the others that are not doing those things. So humbleness, I need to remain humble. Don't talk about that. Don't preach to the other what they should do. Maybe the same thing that I'm doing now. But do I preach too much? Maybe I do, and if I do, I apologize. But then the third thing is, because just after humbleness, we can feel serenity within our heart, that everything is okay if someone is doing it or not doing it, because there is always the reason why someone is doing it and why someone is not doing it, because everything and everyone is in service of something greater. And then we don't know where that leads, of doing it or not doing it. And then finally, the only serenity within the heart can feel and express the love. Before this is in place, we feel unloved, unrespected, and unalive, because the life force is alive within each and every one of us. And that's the God within us, the love, the force that flows through us. But why we are not aware of that? Because we don't respect anything and anyone the way it is. We don't take responsibility over that. We don't, even if we do something, we don't take responsibility. We don't call ourselves accountable for no matter which kind of outcome is there. Even if we are responsible, we are not humbled after that responsibility. And humble heart is the heart in service, and serene heart in after which the pure love and harmony can be felt as present state of our being. That's how important the dog interaction and feeding ritual is. That's how you need to feed your dog. Very simple, very easy. It's nothing complicated, no drama. Because if you do that, what the dogs feel is guilt. They feel guilty because you do and behave like that. That childish behavior, for the people in our age, it's unacceptable anymore. Unacceptable about our children, unacceptable about people that we care about, that we love. It's unacceptable. It can be difficult, but if it would be easy, everyone would be able to do it. So I guess we touched, like always, a lot of words.
Yes, thank you
A lot
so
of
much,
things.
everyone. And leave us a comment. Let us know if you agree, disagree. Subscribe, smash the like, and let us know what your thoughts are. We'll reply to everyone and give us suggestions on what topic you want us to cover.
Yeah. So thank you so much as well. I guess, like, is there anything that you would love to address more? Perfect. Love you so much, and thank you for your time, for your patience, and then see you next Thursday, 7:00 Pacific time. Bye. Oh my God, you